What is happening, guys and gals? Joe Badger here, your money mentor, where we have deep pockets and short arms, and where I help you with my nearly 40 years of experience with money, investing, and business. So I want to talk about side gigs for 2021 and beyond. These are the kind of little side hustles where you want to be making extra money aside from your main job. And when I talk about extra money, I'm talking about anywhere from $500 to $1,500 a month. Some of these can be very good. And I want to talk about things that you may not have heard about before, not typical side gigs, as well as a couple that I've experimented with myself, and I have some insights and I want to share those with you as well. So make sure you like this video if you like it. And make sure you subscribe to the channel because we have a lot more coming and you do not want to miss out. So let's get into those side gigs, those side hustles, those extra sources of moonlighting money that are going to make us a couple of bucks on the side. As we get into these side gigs, you want to make sure that you stick around to the end of the video because we have some that I think will really surprise you. Also, as we talk about these various side gigs, two things to keep in mind. One is there is a certain amount of money that you can expect to make, but also there are expenses involved as well. And as we all know, when it comes to money, your expenses will eat up your profits. So I'm going to be talking about those as well. And when it comes to Airbnb, I'm sure you have heard a lot, but I have firsthand experience with Airbnb. I have a space in my house and it sounded like a great idea to me, so I wanted to rent it out. And I did. I set up the website, and the good thing about Airbnb is when you first set it up, the platform boosts you for 90 days. They put you ahead because they really want to promote your site. And it helps you as you're learning with this new platform. Also, expect to start out at a low price to get you on the board, to get you renters, and get you people into the place when you're doing this. I did this for over a year, and I wanted to see if it was seasonal. I wanted to see the different patterns. I wanted to see what I can really charge for a room and get away with, and how much time was involved in this little kind of side gig here. And as it turns out, for me, in my experience, there's a lot of time involved, a lot more than you would think. And there are definitely expenses involved. For example, the space that I had, I would normally shut it off during the winter or even during the summer as far as air conditioning goes. So my utilities shot up significantly. You're going to be spending a lot more in utilities and energies in some cases. At least that's how it was in my case. Once again, time commitment, time is money. I put a lot more into this than I thought, whether it's staging the photos or cleaning or setting things up. That is a huge thing to consider as well. Also, you're depending upon it. If someone is scheduling a room and they want to stay over a weekend or whatever, but you want to go somewhere else and you have plans with friends or family or a loved one and you want to get away, well, you're going to have to prioritize things too. Does this side gig bring in enough money for me in order to sacrifice some of my private plans? So there are a lot of different considerations. Sure, it seems easy because it's an online platform, but in my personal experience, a lot of time was involved, many different expenses, and also the amount of money that I made over a year's time was a little under $1,000 a month. $12,000 a year in my case. Overall, you are spending time and money, so that's a definite consideration to keep in mind if you're going to go that route. When it comes to side gigs and ride sharing, I have direct experience with Lyft. I wanted to try this out and see what it was all about. I was out of town. I was in Scottsdale, Arizona, which happens to be one of the big hubs for Lyft. So I said, what better time? Also, I wanted some extra money for Christmas at the time, being that it was December. So I signed up, and that was easy enough. And the rides came immediately. That was the good thing, especially in that location. And what I did for a period of about a month, I made $2,000, and I really didn't kill myself doing it. However, in that month period, the expenses in gas and keeping the car clean and other miscellaneous, believe it or not, was $500. So even though I made about $2,000, I had $500 in extra expenses. So it's definitely a viable thing, especially if you have time at night or off time when you want to try to do the ride sharing. It definitely will bring in the money, especially with the tips. Once again, this was December for me, and seasonally it was working out perfectly because I would take people somewhere and they would give me a Christmas tip. And that was probably the best part about it, because other than that, you would get certain rides that might only be a couple dollars or $5. So keep in mind the expenses, gas, your car, what have you, as you're doing the rideshare programs. Let's talk about GrubHub and the money you can expect to make and some of the expenses involved as well. So the people I talked to who were doing the GrubHub were actually doing it full-time. They weren't doing it as side gigs, they were doing it as full-time employment. And what they said they were bringing in was, for a normal 40-hour week, they were bringing in roughly about $25 an hour. But when they said it was monthly and yearly, they said they were bringing in about $1,000 a week, which comes to roughly about $50,000 a year. And once again, they were doing it full time, and they really enjoyed it. Now, having firsthand experience with Lyft, once again, I think you're going to have a lot of expenses to consider, like gasoline, your car, and various odds and ends expenses. But overall, there is a definite potential there, especially if you're thinking of it as a side gig. There's some money there to be made, available to a lot of people, and definitely worth checking into. Another really interesting side gig is setting up an Amazon store. I have a family member who's in college right now, and he's in his younger 20s, and he had set up an Amazon store where he buys and sells different items. It seems very complicated when he explained it to me, but he's been doing it for years, and it is a really good income for him, and he enjoys it. So for his purposes, he's going to college full time, and he's also managing this Amazon store, and he really likes it a lot. And so that is another viable option. But keep in mind the time commitment that you have to put into it, and the buying of products before you can sell them. And also there are different profit margins that you're going to make on different products. Some of them you get a huge profit, and others you get a very small profit. But all of them you're going to have to kick back a little bit to Amazon. So there's those expenses as well to consider. But an Amazon store, buying and selling products, is definitely a viable option for a side gig and so for some extra money. Okay, all of you creatives out there, pay attention, because this one is free. If you are a writer and you want to write poetry or books or short stories, then Amazon Kindle Publishing is totally free. And all you have to do is download the software on your computer and write a book, upload it, and hopefully you can make a little money off of that. The way they have it set up is you have a choice of earning either 35% of the sales or 70% of the sales, with some different stipulations on those percentages. Also, the good news is that when you think of a book, it doesn't have to be big. A lot of them are very short. It can be very short or very long. So you don't have to really write the great American novel to put it on Kindle Publishing ebooks. Apparently, the big topics for ebooks are romance, sci-fi and fantasy, and mystery. So if you have a knack with writing these or an interest, this could be an option for you. Remember, it's free to do it, but of course it does take your time. But this is a side gig, something that you can do on the side. And if this is something that you enjoy, I'd definitely check it out. So here's an unusual one that I looked into. For all of you neatniks out there who are very good at cleaning, you can clean houses on the side. And when you clean houses, you can expect to earn about $60 to $75 for a 3-hour period. And this could be very good if you have some free time and you like this sort of thing. Now, some ways that you can put the word out is to go on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. In other ways, you can post flyers in your community, whether it's at the library or at the gym, or places that will allow you to post some kind of flyer. So that's a way you can make some extra money there. Also, there are tips involved when it comes to cleaning as well. So this can be a viable source of extra income, some moonlighting, if you're into cleaning and keeping things nice and neat. Here's another one to consider: light landscaping. And by light landscaping, I just mean raking, trimming bushes, cleaning up, potting plants, mulching, maybe gardening, something along those lines. It doesn't even have to be cutting grass. But if you already have the equipment, let's say you have a blower at home or a trimmer or something along those lines, you can charge a few bucks for those services, and they don't even take that long a time. Once again, you could pass out flyers. I know for a family member, they had received the flyer in the mail, and not in the mail, but just that was passed out at their doorstep, and it turned out to be their long-term landscaper. He has a viable business, and he just used a typical neighborhood flyer. So these kind of light landscaping duties that can help people out, and a lot of people have also small lots. Depending where you are, they might just have a very little lot, and it might be very easy work to pick up and take very little time when the weather is good. And because you're not a full-time landscaper, they're not depending upon you to do their mowing and their heavy-duty landscaping like tree work on a regular basis every Tuesday or whatever. So that is another consideration: light landscaping, helping out in people's yards. I think it's a great source for moonlighting and a couple extra bucks. Have you ever worked on your own car and made it look beautiful inside and out? Well, then consider car detailing as an extra moonlighting service. You can do things like washing, waxing, pet hair removal, vacuuming, leather conditioning, all those little things that people would love to pay you for. Some detailers make anywhere from $50 to $100 a car and more, depending on your situation, your neighborhood, etc., and what you can get away with. You're going to have some expenses, of course, because you can have to go up to the store and get the basic materials. Also, you can consider for yourself whether to do it on a mobile basis, going to the customer, or having them come to you. That's up to you. But there are those little different expenses to keep in mind. But other than that, think of doing car detailing for some extra money. Here's another unique idea for extra money. Have you ever done work on your home, whether it's handyman work or light remodeling or a weekend project, and you really enjoyed it, and you may already have the tools and the materials? Well, this is something you can offer to other people, either handyman work or fix and repairs or some light remodeling. I wouldn't want to overcommit on something like this. Like if you tell someone, I'm going to redo your floors for you, and it turns out to be a major project that you can't handle, and it's really needed to be done by a serious contractor. But for some money on the side, and if you have some experience and tools, and you do it at your own house, maybe this is something that you can offer someone else as well, because this is something that if you enjoy and you already know how to do it, then someone else needs this type of service, and it's something that you can make a little extra money with. So there you have it, guys and gals, some side gig ideas for 2021 and beyond. If you like this video, definitely hit the like button. If you like this channel, I suggest that you subscribe, because we have a lot more coming when it comes to money ideas, making money, personal finances, and you do not want to miss out. Otherwise, I'll see you guys later. For now, Joe Badger is out.